It started with a slam. The fridge door rattled every wine glass in the cabinet. I'm not your maid, Daniel. I'm not your mother. And I'm definitely not your emotional support pillow. Melissa snapped, turning from the fridge like she'd just hit her limit. I didn't even look up, just kept slicing the carrots into smooth coins on the cutting board. You barely opened the fridge, let alone clean it. What are we really talking about here, Mel? Her eyes narrowed, and I could see the fire behind them. Don't turn this into a joke. I'm serious. I want a week. No husband duties. No cooking. No talking. No pretending. I want space. I set the knife down carefully, wiped my hands on a towel, and leaned back against the counter. You want a vacation from your own life. From us. I want to breathe, she said through gritted teeth. I come home, and I feel like I'm disappearing in this house. Disappearing? I scoffed. You've got a job you like, friends who text you nonstop, and a husband who doesn't chase you around for attention. That's not disappearing. That's comfort. Comfort, she said, shaking her head. It's suffocating, Daniel. You act like you're this stable, reliable husband, but you're just, she paused, grasping for the right insult. Just, dull. Now I looked at her. Really looked. Say that again. You heard me. Dull. I repeated slowly. Melissa, you picked me. You married me. I haven't changed. Exactly, she snapped. You never change. You're always calm. Always calculated. You don't fight. You don't shout. You just stand there slicing carrots while your wife tells you she wants out. Because someone's got to stay level when one of us decides to go nuclear over nothing. She stepped closer. Don't you dare call this nothing. Fine, I said. Then tell me what this is. You want space? What kind of space? You want a hotel? A cabin? Or are we talking divorce papers now? She flinched like I'd slapped her. I didn't say anything about divorce. But you're baiting it, I said calmly. You knew exactly how this would land. You walked in here, waited for me to get quiet, then dropped your little performance. So no, this isn't about space. It's about you trying to make me react. Melissa stared at me like I'd cracked some secret code. I'm leaving for a week, she said, grabbing her keys. And I don't need your permission. I stepped aside, nodding once. Go wherever you want from here. She froze in the doorway, eyes searching mine for any sign of panic, regret, anything. I gave her nothing. The door slammed a second later. And just like that, the kitchen was quiet again. Knife still on the board. Water still boiling. Only the sound of the old ceiling fan spinning overhead. I stood there for a long time, not moving. My name is Daniel Monroe. I'm 38. I make zoning maps for the city of Nashville. I grocery shop on Sundays. I fold my own laundry. I answer emails on time. I'm boring, apparently. But I'm not stupid. And I know when something's gone rotten in the walls of a marriage. I just didn't know yet how deep it went. The next morning was quiet. Not the peaceful kind. The kind that sticks to your skin and makes the air feel heavier than it should. I woke up before the alarm. No smell of coffee. No creak of closet doors or soft curses over lost earrings. Just stillness. I lay there a moment, eyes open, listening for the familiar sound of Melissa blow-drying her hair or bumping into the dresser. Nothing. I pulled the sheets off and stepped onto the hardwood. Her side of the bed was untouched. Not slept in. The guest room was empty too. Her suitcase was gone from the closet. I stood there in the doorway for a second, just watching the blank bed like it might explain something. In the kitchen, I made eggs, toast, black coffee, the usual. But everything felt off. Even the rhythm of the toaster popping too early made me flinch. I sat at the table alone, staring at my plate longer than I actually ate from it. There were no texts on my phone. No missed calls. No petty messages like, "Don't forget trash day." Not even a calendar reminder. Melissa's usual passive-aggressive breadcrumbs were gone. I checked the fridge. No new groceries missing. Her favorite oat milk still sat unopened. The wine from last night, untouched. The house felt like it was holding its breath. Mid-bite, I stopped. The spoon clinked back into the bowl, louder than it should have been. I suddenly realized that this wasn't just quiet, it was sterilized. Cleaned of her. I walked over to her side of the closet, and sure enough, half her clothes were still there. But her toiletries were missing. And her laptop was gone too. She hadn't just stormed off. She packed. My first instinct was to call her. But I didn't. I stared at her name in my contacts for a good 30 seconds, thumb hovering. What would I even say? Hey, just checking if you're still mad, or if we've officially entered the vanishing without warning phase of marriage? I put the phone down. Instead, I went through the motions of my morning. I drove to work, answered emails, sat in a budget meeting where someone used the phrase actionable synergy without irony, nodded, pretended, but my mind wasn't in the room. It kept circling back to that kitchen, how quiet it was, how that silence didn't feel temporary. I came home around 6. The porch light was still on, just like always. But when I stepped inside, there was no coat tossed over the railing, no shoes by the door. No Melissa. I cooked pasta, ate half, left the rest. Tried watching TV, but couldn't even remember what I turned on. Around 8:30, I sent her a single text. Are you safe? Delivered. Read. No reply. I stared at those 3 dots that never showed up. I didn't sleep much that night. Just lay there listening to the hum of the house, trying to remember if I had ever seen her look back when she left. The odd thing is, I wasn't angry. Not yet. I wasn't even afraid. Not really. I was something else. Numb. Like I was standing on a dock, looking out at a fogged-in lake, knowing something big was moving under the surface. But I couldn't see it. Not yet. It was just after 7 when I heard the knock, 3 light taps, followed by the familiar creak of the front door opening halfway. Daniel? It's me. Rachel. Melissa's younger sister had a voice like she was always mid-laugh, even when she wasn't smiling. I hadn't seen her in a couple months, some birthday dinner or holiday thing. I couldn't remember. She lived across town, usually kept to her yoga classes and gluten-free recipes. We got along fine, in a surface-level sort of way. She stepped into the living room, arms crossed tight over her jacket. Her hair was pulled back, but strands were falling loose around her face like she'd rushed out of the house. She looked off. I stayed on the couch, remote still in hand. Hey, everything okay? Rachel gave a tight shrug and looked around like she half expected to see her sister. Is Melissa here? I shook my head. She left yesterday evening. Said she needed space. Her brow furrowed. Yeah, she's not answering me either. I texted this morning, then called a couple times. Nothing. Which isn't weird for most people, but it is for her. I raised an eyebrow. So I'm not the only one being ignored. Rachel flopped down into the armchair across from me and let out a long sigh. Honestly, I thought maybe she was with you guys, taking some time to cool off after a fight or something. I didn't reply, just looked at her until she realized that no, there had been no cooling off. She said anything to you? I asked. Anything about needing space? Or something she was planning? Rachel shifted in her seat, clearly uncomfortable. Not really. I mean, she's been weird lately. Restless, you know? Kept talking about doing something for herself. For herself, I repeated dryly. That seems to be the theme of the month. She gave a sympathetic smile, but there was something else behind her eyes. Something hesitant. What? I asked. Rachel waved a hand. It's probably nothing. I didn't move. Just waited. Silence is powerful when you know how to use it. Finally, she sighed and leaned forward, elbows on her knees. Okay, don't make it weird, but did you know Ethan's in town? The name hit me like a dropped glass on tile. Ethan, Melissa's ex. The one she almost married. Tall, charming, worked in logistics or consulting, one of those vague jobs that makes too much money. He'd moved out west a few years ago, and that was the last I'd heard of him. Until now. My voice came out flat. Why would that matter? Rachel held up her hands. I'm not saying it does. I just thought it was a coincidence. He posted a story this morning, said he was in Nashville for a corporate summit. I didn't think much of it until Melissa went dark. Did she know he was coming? Rachel hesitated. Rachel. She bit her lip. I don't know for sure. But they reconnected a few months ago. Nothing dramatic. Just a couple messages on Facebook. I only found out because she mentioned it casually at brunch once. I sat back slowly, every part of me going still. Did she ever talk about seeing him? In person? Not directly, Rachel said quickly. But she did say something like, if he ever passes through, I wouldn't mind catching up. I didn't think she was serious. Of course she didn't. Melissa was always the queen of framing her intentions as harmless curiosity. Rachel must have felt the shift in my expression because she added, look, I'm not trying to stir things up. I just thought you should know. I nodded once. Thanks. But I didn't mean it. Because now that seed, the idea of Melissa meeting up with Ethan, was planted. And even if it was innocent, even if it was nothing, it suddenly made the house feel 20 degrees colder. Rachel stood awkwardly. If she reaches out to me, I'll let you know. Appreciate it, I said, though my voice didn't sound like mine anymore. She paused in the doorway. You okay? I didn't answer. After she left, I just sat there, staring at the floor, listening to the quiet hum of the refrigerator. Melissa had disappeared before, stormed off, slammed doors. But this had a different taste. This was rehearsed, tidy, calculated. And now Ethan was in town. Somewhere out there, downtown. Maybe my wife might be having drinks with a man who once held a piece of her heart. Maybe she was laughing with him right now. Maybe she was remembering why she almost picked him in the first place. I called Rachel the next morning. I didn't bother with small talk. Hey, I said, I need to ask something, and I need an honest answer. She paused. Okay. When Melissa left, did she say where she was going? No, Rachel said slowly. She just told me she needed to clear her head. That was it. Did she mention Ethan again? In the last week? Another pause. I could hear her exhale through her nose. Not directly, but she was different yesterday. Giddy almost. Like when you're excited for something but don't want to jinx it by saying it out loud. I leaned back in the dining chair and stared at the ceiling. Did she take anything with her? I mean, yeah. She had a bag. A real one. Not just a tote. A suitcase. My chest tightened. Suitcase. Yeah, one of the roller ones. She had makeup on, too. Not just mascara or whatever. Full-on eyeshadow, lipstick, the works. She doesn't do that unless it's a wedding or something important. I know, Rachel said, her voice dipping lower. That's what made me ask if she was here. It felt not like her. Not like just taking a break. I didn't answer right away. I just stared out the front window where the lawn looked too perfect, too staged. Like a set piece for a family that wasn't quite real anymore. Daniel, Rachel added softly. Do you think she's with him? I think I'm past the point of thinking, I said. I just need to know. Rachel was quiet a long time. She's still my sister, she finally said. But if she's doing what I think she's doing, you deserve to know. After we hung up, I didn't do much. Just sat with that silence again. It didn't feel foggy now. It felt surgical. Like something precise was cutting through the dull confusion and letting in a sliver of sharp clarity. She packed a suitcase, did her makeup, left without a word. And Ethan just happened to be in town. I scrolled through my contacts and tapped her name. Ringing. 1 ring. 2. 4. Voicemail. I didn't leave one. I waited. Then tried again. This time, she picked up on the 3rd ring. Daniel? Her voice was breathless, high-pitched, like she'd been caught off guard. Where are you? I'm just out for a walk. Needed some air. I let the silence stretch between us. She cleared her throat. I didn't think you'd call. That's funny, I said softly. I was thinking the same thing about you. Don't do that. Do what? That tone. The one where I speak like I've just been lied to? She sighed. Daniel, please don't turn this into a thing. I kept my voice even. You left. With luggage. Wearing makeup you haven't touched since last fall. I think it's already a thing. I said I needed time. And I said you could go wherever you want from here. I didn't think that meant you'd run straight to a man you used to sleep beside. There it was. She didn't answer. No denial. No gasp of offense. Just breathing on the other end. You're not just walking, Melissa. Don't do this. You did this, I said. You chose not to come home. You chose not to tell me where you are. And now I know you're hiding something. Her voice dropped. I just needed to feel something. Something different. And did you? Silence again. Melissa, I can't do this right now, she whispered. Then don't. Just remember, I didn't chase you out that door. She hung up. And this time, I didn't feel numb. I felt something hot in my chest. Not fury. Not heartbreak. Focus. A clean, steady burn. Not because I knew where she was, but because I finally understood where I stood. That night, I called Travis. He didn't ask questions. He just showed up with a 6-pack and his laptop, like we were prepping for a fantasy football draft. Travis had been my best friend since college. He was the loud one, the impulsive one, the guy who once tried to fix a leaking pipe with duct tape and a prayer. But he was loyal. And when he saw the look on my face, he didn't crack a single joke. We set up on the coffee table, screens open, phones out. All right, he said, cracking a beer. Where's the last digital breadcrumb? She picked up once. I said, scrolling through my call log. Said she was on a walk. Breathless, like she'd jogged across a parking lot and didn't want to admit it. Travis nodded, eyes already skimming through Melissa's Facebook. Well, she hasn't posted since last week. Not even a story. She's usually all over Instagram. Even when she's mad, she posts her food. He looked over at me. And Ethan? I hesitated, then said, try LinkedIn. Guy works in corporate strategy or something equally vague. Travis's fingers flew over the keyboard. All right, Ethan Ward. Summit in Nashville. Yep. Posted a pic 3 days ago. Hotel ballroom, blurry lanyard, and some quote about connecting beyond the deal. No location tag. He's being careful. Let's check the comments. We scrolled. All surface level stuff. Congrats. Looks great. No mention of Melissa. No clue who was with him. Check her tag photos, I said. Already on it, Travis muttered. He tapped through her profile, then frowned. 0 tags from anyone. Nothing from Rachel, not even a brunch post. I leaned back. So either she's turned everything private, or she's gone full ghost mode, Travis finished. Burner phone? Fake name on a hotel registry? She wouldn't, I said automatically. Then caught myself. Or maybe she would. He gave me a long look, then opened his phone and started pulling up dating apps. Let's get creative. Seriously? I asked. You think she's on a dating app this week? If she is, it's under a fake profile, he said, clicking through. No name, maybe just initials. But if Ethan's the one who travels, he might be dumb enough to have his real profile active. We scanned for an hour. Nothing. No Ethan. No Melissa. No familiar hotel carpet backgrounds or drinks clinking in dim bar light. Just a clean vacuum of activity. Like someone had wiped down the whole trail. Travis sat back and rubbed his jaw. They're being smart. No selfies. No tags. No check-ins. Whatever they're doing, it's off-grid. Or it's not a coincidence, I muttered. He raised an eyebrow. You think this was planned? She packed like it was. Train makeup. Suitcase. And now a digital silence that's way too tidy. Travis didn't argue. He just stared at the screen, then said quietly, Man, I hate being right about people. I nodded slowly. Me too. The room felt colder again, like the heat had slipped out the door behind her 2 nights ago. There was no screaming, no dramatic confession, just clean silence, which somehow hurt more, because it meant she planned it that way. The next morning, Travis and I sat across from each other at his kitchen table, staring down at the remains of 2 overdone eggs and a pot of bitter coffee. She's not going to just pop up, he said, pushing his plate away. You're going to have to flush her out. I looked up. Flush her out. You said she answers Rachel's texts sometimes, right? Occasionally, when it suits her. Then we use that. Rachel's the only person Melissa might not shut down completely. So let's give her a reason to reach out. I raised an eyebrow. You want me to send her sister in as bait? Travis shrugged. I'm saying, drop a line. Not set a trap. I sat back in my chair, considering it. And what exactly do we give her to deliver? A note saying caught you? No. Something harmless. Familiar. Like she's just doing you a favor. I glanced toward the hallway where my jacket hung. She left her favorite scarf. She always travels with it. It's still in the hall closet. Travis smirked. Perfect. Scarves say I care. Not I'm hunting you. 2 hours later, I texted Rachel. Hey, random favor. Could you drop something off to Melissa? Nothing weird. Just stuff she left. She responded faster than I expected. Sure. Where do I find her? No idea. But maybe if you ask, she'll tell you. A pause. Then, you want me to trick her? I called her. Rachel, I'm not asking you to spy. I just want to make sure she's okay. She didn't tell me anything. But she might tell you something. A detail. A place. I'm not asking you to interrogate her. Just deliver the bag. She hesitated. What's in it? Her scarf. A charger. Little things. Nothing dramatic. Rachel sighed. If she finds out I'm playing middleman. You're not. You're her sister. We agreed to meet at a little cafe off Franklin Pike. Neutral ground. It was one of those cozy spots with mismatched chairs and old country music playing too soft to hear the lyrics. She arrived in jeans and a dark hoodie, hair pulled into a bun, no makeup. She looked tired. I handed her the small canvas bag. It's light. Won't attract suspicion. Rachel smiled faintly. This feels weird. It's only weird if you make it weird, I said gently. Just text her. Say you want to meet. Offer to bring her something from home. She'll bite. Rachel rolled the bag strap over her shoulder and picked up her coffee. And if she doesn't, then at least I tried. She looked at me for a long moment. She's not who she used to be, you know. I held her gaze. Neither am I. We sat there a little longer. She told me she'd reach out in the afternoon. As she got up to leave, she paused. If she's hiding something, do you really want to know? I didn't flinch. I already do. Rachel gave a soft nod, almost like she respected the answer but hated it too. Then she turned and walked out, the bell over the cafe door chiming behind her. I sat alone for a while after that, stirring a coffee I wasn't drinking. We weren't baiting her. We were confirming what was already true. And if Melissa answered the line, I'd finally know where to cast the net. It happened faster than I expected. Rachel texted me 2 hours after we parted ways at the cafe. She answered, meeting her near 5th and Madison. I'll be there in 20. My reply was instant. Thank you. Just let me know when you've left. I grabbed my jacket and keys, checked the mirror. Nothing on my face gave me away. No fury, no fear. Just something still. Flat. I slipped out the door and drove in silence. When I parked near the corner of 5th, I didn't get out right away. Just watched from the driver's seat as people moved along the sidewalks. Couples in coats, downtown workers heading home, a few tourists laughing too loudly. Then I saw her. Melissa. Hair curled, sunglasses on despite the overcast sky, scarf looped neatly at her neck, the same one I'd packed for her. She walked up to Rachel like nothing was broken. No apology, no guilt in her body language. Just a hug, a smile, and a quick glance over her shoulder. Rachel handed her the bag. Melissa nodded, looked inside, and laughed at something her sister said. I didn't hear it. Didn't need to. A few minutes later, Rachel turned and walked off down the street, pulling out her phone to text me. All done. She's staying nearby? I didn't ask details. I texted back. You did enough. I owe you. Now came the real part. I waited a beat, then eased out of my car and followed from a distance. Melissa didn't rush. She strolled through downtown like she belonged there, like this was normal. Past a bakery, a boutique. Then, without hesitation, turned left toward a narrow side street. She didn't even look back. That told me everything I needed to know. She turned into the entrance of the Barrow House Hotel. Boutique. Quiet. The kind of place you don't stumble into. You plan it. She swiped a keycard at the side entrance and disappeared inside. I stopped across the street and stared at the sign glowing above the door. Barrow House. I didn't need to go in. I didn't need to see a room number or catch Ethan in the hallway. This was more than enough. I called Travis. You're not going to believe it, I said. I'll believe anything at this point. She's staying at a boutique hotel off 5th. Not a friend's place. Not a guest room. A hotel. He cursed under his breath. So that's it then. You've got her. Not yet. What do you mean not yet? You've got motive. You've got location. We go now, walk right in, and no. There was a pause. Daniel, don't tell me you're still thinking this through. I'm thinking past tonight, I said quietly. If I go in there now, I'm the angry husband making a scene. She'll spin it. Turn it into panic or pity. So what's your play? I want silence. Paperwork. Finality. Travis didn't argue after that. That night, back home, I poured a single glass of whiskey. No music. No TV. Just the sound of keys under my fingers. I opened a new bank account. Transferred what was mine. Updated my direct deposit. Removed her name from everything I legally could. I pulled out the manila folder from the desk drawer. Inside, marriage license. Tax records. A photo of us at the cabin 3 years ago. She was laughing. I was smiling. I slid the photo aside and opened the online form. Petition for dissolution of marriage, State of Tennessee. I filled it out, line by line. Hands shaking once. Then steady again. No anger. No heartbreak. Just gravity. When I clicked submit, the screen flashed with confirmation. Filed. I sat there for a long time, staring at nothing. This wasn't a declaration. It was a conclusion. She'd made her choice. Now I was making mine. If you're still listening, please tap the like button on this video. 7 days. That's how long she stayed gone without a single explanation. 7 days of filtered selfies posted in black and white with vague captions like, just breathing. 7 days of total silence when I texted. Not even a lie to hold on to. So I stopped looking for her and started looking for him. Ethan Ward, age 38. Works in enterprise negotiation architecture, which I'm convinced is corporate speak for gets paid too much to talk in circles. A Google search gave me a headshot, sharp jaw, expensive haircut, confident smirk. LinkedIn said he was in Nashville for a 4-day summit. But he was still here, still lingering. Rachel had mentioned something about Melissa calling him steady, like he was the one that got away. I couldn't tell if I felt insulted or amused by that. A man who wears suede shoes to a networking brunch doesn't scream stability to me. But I didn't want to punch him. Not yet. I wanted to know who exactly my wife thought was worth detonating a marriage for. So I found him. Thursday night. Whiskey lounge called Pine and Ash, just off Printer's Alley. Dim lights, leather booths, curated vinyl spinning from a corner turntable. The kind of place that charged $15 for silence and a pour. Ethan was alone at the bar, sipping something amber and neat, scrolling through his phone like a man unbothered. I took the stool beside him and ordered the same. He glanced at me once, nodded politely. I'm in town for work, I offered casually. Construction logistics. Lot of zoning red tape out here. He chuckled. Ah, Nashville. They'll let you build a penthouse next to a church, but not a rooftop patio without a hearing. Sounds like you've been here a while. Longer than planned, he said, swirling his glass. Found a reason to stay. He didn't elaborate. Didn't need to. We got to talking. I kept my answers vague. Traveling engineer, married, but it's complicated. Nothing that stuck out. Ethan loosened up after the second drink. By the third, we were playing a friendly game of liar's poker using numbers off our receipts. He wasn't dumb, just smug. The kind of man who assumed strangers were safe until proven otherwise. Eventually, he leaned back and smirked. You ever meet someone who just gets you? Like, years later, and boom, it's still there? I raised an eyebrow. Someone from your past? Yeah, we used to date. Reconnected recently. She's married, technically, but it's falling apart. Husband some zoning guy, real dry personality. I sipped my drink. Sounds like a loser. Ethan grinned. Exactly. I mean, the guy never really saw her. Not like I do. He looked around, then leaned in. She's been sneaking out all week to be with me. Hotel room downtown. Told her husband she needed space. Smart woman, I said, my voice calm. Gotta live while you can, right? Damn right. Ethan said, laughing into his glass. She even said she feels alive again. You know? I smiled. Hey, I said, finishing my drink. You play cards? Ethan perked up. Poker. I've got a set at my place. If you're not in a rush. He glanced at the time, shrugged. Sure, why not? I paid the tab. And just like that, the man sleeping with my wife followed me out the door, whistling like the world was his. I let Ethan win the first hand of poker. We played at my kitchen table. Oak, square, clean. The same table Melissa and I had eaten 100 quiet dinners over. Same place she once told me she wanted to adopt a dog. Same spot she called our safe corner when the world outside got noisy. Now Ethan sat there, still grinning like he'd just bluffed the devil. You sure you've played before? He asked, stacking his fake chips like trophies. I shrugged, pouring him another whiskey. I let you win. Makes people talk more. He laughed. Guess it worked. He leaned back in the chair, clearly relaxed. Like a man who didn't know his legs were dangling over a cliff. I looked at the clock. 8:41 p.m. She'd be home any minute. Rachel had hinted it was happening today. Melissa had said she was wrapping up her alone time. I wasn't sure how I'd feel when the moment came. Part of me expected rage. Part of me expected heartbreak. But mostly, what I felt was readiness. I was prepared. The front door clicked. I didn't turn. Ethan, halfway through a sip, barely noticed, until he heard the keys hit the entry table and her familiar footsteps across the hardwood. Melissa entered the kitchen, pulling off her coat, smiling casually. Until she saw us. Her entire body stopped. Frozen mid-step. Her purse slipped from her shoulder and thudded onto the floor. She didn't say a word. Ethan turned to look at her, chuckling. Hey, look who I ran into. Small world, huh? Then he looked at me, and the grin died. He blinked. Melissa's mouth opened slightly, breath catching. Daniel, what is this? I stood slowly, chair legs scraping the floor. Calm. Controlled. Ethan rose too, confused. Wait a second, you're Daniel? My eyes didn't leave his. You had a good run, Ethan. He backed up a step. Hold on. Man, I didn't know. I swear I didn't. You knew she was married. I didn't know it was you. She said her husband was a zoning guy. I interrupted. Dry personality? Lacked vision. His face paled. I walked around the table, slow, deliberate. Ethan's voice rose. Look, I didn't mean to get involved. This was between you and her. She came to me. Melissa finally found her voice. Daniel, please. I pointed at her. not even raising my hand. You don't get to speak yet. Then I turned back to Ethan. You come into my home. You sit at my table. You lie to my face while drinking my whiskey. And now you want pity? He swallowed hard, trying to keep his posture. I didn't know that you were disposable. I stepped forward, chest to chest now. You do now? I shoved him. Hard. He stumbled back, crashing into the table and nearly knocking over the cards. His glass hit the floor and shattered. Daniel, Melissa shouted. Stop it. But I was already moving. I grabbed Ethan by the collar, dragging him through the living room, toward the front door. He tried to push back, but I was done listening. He hit the front steps with a grunt and landed in the yard, palms skidding over the grass. He scrambled to his feet. You're insane. I stepped onto the porch. Don't come back. Don't text her. Don't call her. Don't breathe in this zip code. He backed away fast, panting. You need help, man. No. I just finally see clearly. He turned and ran, literally ran, down the sidewalk. I watched until he vanished behind the neighbor's hedges. The wind picked up. It was colder now. Melissa stood in the doorway, arms wrapped around herself, tears in her eyes. Daniel, what did you just do? I looked at her, expressionless. I took the trash out. She didn't move, just stood there in the doorway, hugging herself like it could somehow undo the last few minutes. Daniel, Melissa whispered, her voice trembling. Please, can we talk? I didn't answer. I walked past her into the kitchen and picked up the broken glass Ethan left behind, one shard at a time, dropping them into the trash. She followed slowly. I made a mistake, she said quietly. I looked at her. No, you made a plan. She winced, eyes darting toward the front door like she still couldn't believe Ethan was gone. I didn't expect this to happen. I didn't go looking for it. I raised an eyebrow. You packed a suitcase, Melissa. You checked into a hotel with your ex. You kept your phone silent for a week while I sat here wondering if you were even alive. Don't stand in my kitchen and call that an accident. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought we were dying, Daniel. You stopped seeing me. Everything felt routine. Empty. So you filled it with him? I just wanted to feel something again, she choked. But I came back. I came home because I knew I still. You came back. I cut her off because I let you think I'd still be waiting. She went quiet. Then softer, she said, I'll do anything. I'll go to counseling. I'll cut off all contact. Just give me a chance to fix this. I stepped closer, my voice even. Melissa, you weren't just unfaithful. You were careful. You lied with detail, with timing. You vanished without guilt. And if Rachel hadn't said a word, you would have kept lying. She looked down. You're sorry because you were caught. That's not remorse. That's regret. She sniffled. Daniel, please. You're my husband. I don't want to lose this. I nodded. Then you shouldn't have thrown it away. And then I pointed toward the door. She froze. You're kicking me out? I didn't blink. You don't live here anymore. She started to speak, but then stopped. She knew it was over. I watched as she slowly turned, walked to the door, and left. The silence that followed was heavy, but it was clean. Upstairs, I opened the laptop connected to the security system, the same system I'd installed 3 years ago after a break-in scare. I clicked through the saved clips. Every word, every plea, every excuse she gave tonight was recorded, from the moment she walked in. And when the divorce hearing came 2 weeks later, the judge heard it too. Her voice, clear and sobbing. I'll do anything. I just wanted to feel something again. And then mine. You don't live here anymore. The ruling was swift. The house stayed with me. The finances split my way. She didn't contest it. There's no fury like quiet truth. And nothing more satisfying than the moment it becomes undeniable. It's been 6 months. Every morning for the first 3 weeks, she showed up. Sometimes just standing by the mailbox. Sometimes knocking with trembling hands. Sometimes crying. Once, she left a note on the porch that just said, remember who we were. But I never opened the door. Some days, I'd watch from the upstairs window. Not out of spite, just curiosity. She always left after 20 minutes. Sometimes less. Sometimes she sat on the front step like a teenager who missed curfew. As if time would rewind if she just waited long enough. It never did. Eventually, she stopped coming. People asked, of course. A couple of neighbors, polite co-workers, even Travis once. You ever think about letting her explain? I always gave the same answer. She already did. I moved on in my own way. Not fast. Not bitter. Just forward. I sold our couch. Repainted the kitchen. Took down every photo with both of us in it. Not out of revenge, just to make space for air. And on Thursday nights, I teach a small psychology class at the local community college. Adult learners. A few returning students. People searching for new paths. Last week, I asked them a question. What's the most dangerous assumption we make about the people closest to us? They gave good answers. That they'll stay, that they understand us, that they'll never lie. But I told them the real answer. That they see the world the way we do. There's always a silence after that. A pause like someone just opened a door they didn't expect to find. Then we move on. We always move on. And that was the end of my story. Rachel could have kept her mouth shut, but she didn't. She chose to tell me the truth, even though it meant betraying her own sister.